I'm Graham,
And I'm Francois.
and we're initially throwing out the first update um, of like a process of documenting what the hell it is we're doing here in Portland, Oregon. And as of right now, Francois and I, as you can see, we're living out of a van, and we have been for, well, it's just since we hit the road from the Grand Canyon, about 2 weeks
So
now.
we just got done working at the Grand Canyon, the North Rim, where we made steady money. And then we moved to Portland, Oregon. And this is the transition from the North Rim Grand Canyon to Portland, Oregon has been the result of living inside of a van.
Exactly. So as of right now, like really what Francois and I are focused on is creating a musical comedy act to take with us all over the city of Portland, whether that be the streets or whether that be inside bars or whether it be inside elementary schools. And we wanted to document the whole process, just kind of like show the grassroots startup of something that may not work and something that may work, because I think the idea is good enough to work, and I think we have just enough resources, but at the same time I think the idea is crazy as shit.
And I think ideally we want to track the process, so whether it's the process of how failure works or how success works, we're ultimately tracking it, and so far it feels like a failure. Things have been really stressful. We came here and, lived at my sister's place for a little bit, and had to go out and search for apartments, got rejected several times, and then through a good friend, Caleb, so happens that he knew a guy who was living in a place that had like lights and a bath and stuff. And so then we got an apartment through him. Tomorrow was our first day taking everything from the van and moving it to the apartment. And we bought some beers to kind of celebrate that. And then, we kind of decided that we want to outline this kind of idea for the show. Here's what we got so far. You want to read this?
Make the task list. So here is so far a business plan from ground zero. So task list number 1, make a resume and include a CD with 4 original pieces by Francois and Graham and 4 cover songs by other folks. We also need to do a written resume, and we're thinking about pairing the resume together, so not just a resume for me and a resume for Francois, but a resume for both of us, including just kind of our childhood, how we grew up, and what made us jump into music in the first place. Second one is making business cards, and I'm really excited about being able to make business cards because I've never had a business card before, and I think it would be totally cool to be out in public somewhere and somebody asks me what I do, and for the first time be able to tell them I do this and here's my card, because I've never been able to say that before, and I think that would be awesome. So the last step, or the most recent we've come up with, of course, is digital media, and that's where filming this comes in handy. So setting up a Facebook page, a Tumblr account, a Gmail account, a SoundCloud, a YouTube, and a Kickstarter. What we initially want to do is document the process of us climbing up in Portland. And I guess the ultimate goal right now is to see if by music alone and by just our creative ability, can we pay our first month's rent?
The conclusion that we could go into is our general feeling about the future, what sort of apprehensions there are. And I feel like this is, something that's often, sometimes people frown upon it and they're like, what are you doing? Like, what, you're not really, finding a job or a career. And that's like a very legitimate concern, and I feel that concern too. And I think that's partly one of my apprehensions is, what does the future hold, I guess. How bad is it going to turn out? Is it going to be something where I'm like, man, 10 years, Graham and I are going to talk about it and be like, can you believe we, did that? Or is it going to be something that's like, oh, no, man, that was, so much fun. We actually did that. And I think that, I just have to remind myself that it's for the fun of it. And, keep trying to do it.
Yeah, and I guess my general feeling is, you kind of have that battle of, ups and downs, I think, moving to a new place. And the first phase of it is, almost all downs of, you come into a city with these grand, beautiful, amazing expectations, and it diminishes from there whenever reality sets in that, this is actually hard. It's really hard just to go into a city and get an apartment and find a job and set up a musical career and, all of this. And I think, my big hope is that the ups are going to become more frequent, and that, we just had our first accomplishment today, and getting approved on a small studio apartment fucking smack dab downtown Portland, Oregon. After a week of hardship, that's kind of boss, and my hopes is that from here, the ups will be a little more consistent, and that maybe in a month's time, I'll be looking into that camera saying, we made $45 tonight playing music on the street.
So, I think maybe in closing, something that you can think about from your standpoint right now, which might actually be me watching this.
Just us.
Yeah. Think of it like this. Whenever you have a fart, you've got a fart in it, before you have that fart, there's kind of a little bit pain and nervousness. But when you let go, it all kind of comes out, and it feels like something that's going to be really amazing. It all comes out and it feels good, and the bubbles in your stomach kind of go away. But then there's this air of stink, and essentially we're staying true to the fact that we do genuinely love the smell of our farts, and we want other people to smell our farts too, and we want to spread those farts out in Portland, Oregon.